You are live on Morning Vibes with Kwambokes and Bunde, and today, of course, we told you that since it is the month of World Prevention Day for Cancer, we decided to speak to all our MVPs about this particular disease, and we want to take it from the perspective of people who've gone through it as warriors, cancer warriors, and we also want to speak to a gentleman who's taking care of someone who's gone through cancer. And so in studio, we got Shiko, we got Joy, and we got Joe.
Lillian,
and we got Joe. They are all friends of Vibes. Now, I just want to urge you can go onto vibesradio.co.ke to watch the interview live as it's unfolding. We are live, we're broadcasting live, so you can get to see what's happening here in studio. I'm going to start with Shiko. Shiko, how old are you?
I'm 22.
22 years of age.
Yes.
Do you know that a lot of people think that cancer inakwanga ugonjwa ya wazee?
No, nowadays unaweza pata mpaka mtoto wa 2 years with cancer. Yeah.
All right, Shiko, share with us your story.
So I'm from Gatundu, but I stay in Githurai, and I got diagnosed with cancer back on 2015. So it just started like a small tumor, just like a pimple below the knee. Then after that, I saw that this pimple is growing.
Yeah.
Na nikijaribu kuifinya, it's not kutoa anything. So I went to hospital. I did my first biopsy. Then I went to the second hospital. I did my second biopsy. That's when I was told that I had cancer. That was on 2015 on February. Then on March 18th, I got amputated because the risk of it spreading was high. Yeah. And at that time, getting money for treatment was not easy at all. So I went ahead, I got amputated at the age of 17.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was still a teenager, you see. That's the time that you start building your life. Yeah. It was not easy at all. In fact, getting that decision of being amputated, it was not easy.
So you were dealing with a diagnosis that's life-threatening, and then on top of that, you have to deal with the fact that you might lose a leg.
Sure. At
17.
Yes, it was the worst day of my life, I'm telling you, because I was not even imagining losing my leg. In fact, I'm the one who took myself to the theater. I was walking, I was not limping, I was just as normal as any other person. Yeah. But I had to lose my leg, you see. So I lost my leg. I stayed in the hospital. Then after that, I went home. I had to deal with the stigma of having one leg. Yeah. I have to start a new life living with disability, because maybe in my heart I'm not disabled, but physically I'm disabled. So I had to deal with all those things, and it was not easy at all.
And that time that you're 17, you're still in high school, so you have all these friends who are...
Yeah, not probably, because me nilimaliza shule, nilifika class 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was not able to continue with the studies. Okay. Then I came to Nairobi for work as a house girl. Yeah. And at that time, I had just stopped being a house girl and starting my own life. Because I'm the breadwinner of my family. Yeah. And kila mtu niwe anategemea. So, in fact, in our family, it cost it was a bomb in the family.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to come back to you, Shiko. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to turn to you, Lillian. Share with us your story.
First, I must just comment, Shiko, I'm humbled. I thought I had a story. Probably I don't have one. Yeah. So I just turned 44. Just to start from there. And for me, I just thank God that I'm alive. Yeah. It's been 8 years since I was diagnosed with cancer. That was back in 2012. However, in 2011, I had a misdiagnosis whereby when I visited the hospital, got this doctor, and all they said is that we did a CT scan, if I remember well. They said, don't worry, uko tu sawa, ikitu itaisha. So, and that was it. Yeah. Anyhow. So, 2012, I had a dear friend who literally forced me to go to the hospital. Yes. And you can imagine, at my age, And when people see you, they imagine that you understand, you should have done, you're seeing lumps. Why not go to the hospital?
So you, at this point, you are feeling lumps in your breast?
Yeah, I actually had lumps, but it was like first the doctor told me like, I'm cool, so it's all right. Yeah. And so, I don't know, you just feel like you don't want to go to the hospital. What are you going to do? Yeah. So anyway, finally we did, and I did the first biopsy, just as Shiko. And you get the results, and the only thing your world crashes. Yeah. Because you've got an idea, you're here, you're working, your life is all sorted out, so to speak. Yeah. And all of a sudden you have to go through something else that you didn't know about. I must admit that whereas people look like they know, I didn't know much about cancer completely. Yeah. So we started on the first treatment. I was very blessed to have an employer who was able to pay for my treatment. I had good treatment. I had lumpectomy, whereby instead of doing a full mastectomy, whereby they remove your breast and all that, they did what they call a breast conservation. I had a season of doing radio. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough, and you've got to work. And I was okay. I forgot about it, so to speak. Come 2017, I could have the same symptoms, but you can imagine that I still forgot about that cancer exists. And so I started having just pains in my legs and too much pain. Trust you me, Kwambox, I used to go to a physio to massage my legs because according to me, I'm like just tired. Yeah. I'm tired, I've been driving, and so I had all these excuses in my head. So I would go for really tough physio. And something one day told me that no, there's a problem. And I went to a nearby hospital to where I live, and we did a scan, and I took back the results. Unfortunately, this doctor didn't even tell me that he suspects that there's a reoccurrence. And the only thing he did is that he gave me painkillers, and I was okay. Yeah. But then after a while, I went back to my old doctor, and I said, look, this is how I'm feeling. I could see it in his eyes that probably, So we did a bone scan, finished. First, just to say that it's very difficult to even get bone scan done in Kenya. They are not there. Yeah. You don't have the machines, you don't have water, so you've got to wait. Yeah. So you can imagine the number of patients in this country who are even right now, today, just waiting to get a bone scan done. If you go to a hospital, which we love going in KNH, the machine is there, but probably they don't have the materials to use. This is a sad story in this country. Wow. Anyhow, so I finally managed to do that. And what the doctor told me is a very good doctor. And he said, Lillian, you're in trouble. I asked him how bad it is. He said, we'll deal with it. And so I started my second treatment. This time round, I was privileged and doubled that I got my treatment through NHIF. At this time, I just started a new job. Yeah. So it's a case whereby you've got a new job, you've got to work. Yeah. You're supposed to go to the hospital. Yeah. You've got, your life just stops. You don't know who to tell. You get to a space whereby there's no, you are alone. Yeah. Ideally, but you find in the hospitals, and this is something I must say, we have the oncologists, the nurses, they're amazing, but they have a lot to do for us, for our cancer patient, and I'm sure Shiko probably would attest to that. There are many patients, right? But they'll do their best to just support you, which in my case, that happened. And I got my treatment at Kenyatta. I did my chemo. I did radio first, then I did chemo, then it's a combination of many stuff that has to happen. You will have to have what we call a Zyphos to help your bones just be strong. I was
just to ask, this was a reoccurrence of breast cancer.
Yeah, so
that had now spread into your bones.
Yes, there's a bones, there's a bit of it in the lungs, there's a bit of it partially.
So when they did the first lympho, the one where lumpectomy, did they had removed the cancer, but then it came back?
What I could say is this. Well, yes, that's what we know.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to believe. But then it seems that at that point in time, already the cancer had kind of spread.
Yeah.
Right? And you see, as it is at that time, the certain things that we have to admit as a nation, right? No one told me that, hey, you've got to do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's only during this reoccurrence that I've learned a lot of things. I've learned a lot of stuff to do even with what I should have done then.
In terms of care?
Yes, that I didn't know.
All right, I'm going to take you, we're going to take a short break. Shiko, thank you so much for sharing. Lillian as well. When we come back, we're going to talk about care. And this is where, Joe, you will share your story because you took care of your wife when she was going through cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 25 minutes past 8 a.m. You're live on Morning Vibes with Kwambokes and Bunde. And today we're talking about cancer because today and this month of February is World Preventative Cancer Day. And it's there to ensure that we are definitely talking about and reinforcing preventative measures when it comes to cancer.
Your all day, every day vibe station. Africa's #1 reggae radio station.
Important to say that cancer is one of those things that has really infiltrated the Kenyan population and the world as a whole. We talk about it, but we don't talk with facts. We're always talking about nilisikia. So we've got friends of Vibes in studio who are helping us understand where we are. If this happens to you, what you need to know. Before we took the break, Lillian, you said that there's things you learned about the care. When the cancer came back, when you went to hospital, you realized that things like your diet.
Yes, Kwambokes, just to confirm, yes, the certain things that I learned that probably I should have done the first time. For instance, and as you said earlier, we are not saying that we know or this is what people should do, but I know because we get now insights from the outside world, whereby now we have to start reading and researching, because in Kenya there's no place for you to go and you get information about cancer. There's nothing. We've got the National Cancer Institute, which should be the body that should be doing this for us. It's not active. Until last year, mid-July or so, it was a body with no people. So today, if I go to National Cancer Institute of Kenya, I'm not sure I'm going to get the information that I need. Whereas the government has tried as much as possible to even put in strategies and controls that should be governing cancer, it's not being practiced.
What do you think it is? Because last year, we lost 6 top politicians and leaders, business leaders, to cancer, and it seemed like every politician would come and they would say, "Oh, we need to do this, or we need to that." Then you'd think that things would be set in motion, but it doesn't seem so.
I'm worried to say this. For instance, during that time, we had a lot of campaigns and we had a lot of centers set up that people were going for screening, and that was it. And that was the end of the story. So who does follow up? Today, I would say that we have probably community nurses who don't even have jobs. Why not have these people? Stations in different centers, different hospitals, day in, day out. They'll be there. They know about how they can talk to us, to human beings when they walk into a hospital. And we make it like it will be a must. When someone gets to a hospital, and I think it has happened in a country like China, where someone gets into a hospital, whether they like it or not, it's mandatory. You've got to be screened. And I don't think it's such a difficult thing for the government to do for citizens, right? We have community nurses, they can do that. They set up centers in their hospitals, and once that is done, there has to be follow-up. For me, I didn't know about follow-up. I didn't know about that. I didn't know, like, simple thing like, for instance, just cut down on sugar. I didn't know, like, simple things like probably do a lot of, just juice, proper juicing, do a lot of, make sure your immune system is working, because as we all know, cancer really affects our immune. And the first thing that you have to do as a human being is to sort out your immune system. I didn't know about that.
So you think there should be more information, and the Cancer Center needs to be doing this for Kenyans?
Which is not happening.
Which is not doing.
It's not doing. And today, members of parliament, wherever they are, they know very well in their communities if they can get nurses who don't have jobs.
Yeah.
I've seen people paying teachers 15,000 shillings, and people have started doing that in certain regions in this country.
Yeah.
You teach these students about certain things. These students have got no idea about what cancer is.
Yeah.
We can even start that in our primary schools because just as Shiko said, at 17, she found cancer.
All right, we're going to come back to you, Lillian. I want to speak to Joe because Joe's situation is a bit different. You took care of your wife as she was battling cancer.
Yes.
What cancer? Please tell us the story.
My wife came down with a type of cancer called Burkitts lymphoma. Surprisingly, Burkitts lymphoma is actually a child's type of cancer, but it does in some instances get to the adult. Now, however, having said that, once you get cancer in your home, you have other patients.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you already have one primary caregiver.
Yeah.
Then you have the rest of the family, depending whether your sisters, your husband, whatever. And what comes through is that there's a lot of emotional strain and physical stress, right? Because one, and with all due respect to the patients, one of the people who's really affected is the caregiver.
Yes.
Because the caregiver is seeing
The
their
pain.
loved one going through a very, very stressful and painful moment. The patient, on the other hand, has an acceptance. You get?
Yeah.
After a while, they accept their situation and they're like, okay, come what may, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, that is then transferred from the patient to worry about the caregiver. Now, the caregiver, one thing, is alone. The patient is not able of functioning normally. You have to look for the finances.
Yeah.
You become the fundraiser. You have to look after the patient throughout. You're the one who's going to feed them. You're the one who's going to know what they're going to eat. You're the one who's going to run around for their medication.
Yeah.
You're the one who's going to go see the doctor sometimes. And it becomes very stressful. And at times, when it gets to that, you find that you start getting now mental health because the stress is too much.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things we don't have in this country is a support system.
Yeah.
We don't have a support system.
For who?
And
For who?
For both the patient and the caregiver.
Yeah.
Now, we find that we have so many organizations, support groups, that patients create for themselves.
Yeah.
They will come together and create support groups, and the best they can do is tell each other today, they ask myself, I'm feeling this way. What do I do this way? They give each other advice.
Wait, so there's no, like what you were saying, there's no, when you're doing this setup, it's all you sharing your personal stories.
It is us sharing our own personal
Wow.
stories. Now, the thing is, sometimes it's so stressful because the people you're in that group have cancer.
Yeah.
You need financial aid. And there's nobody to go to because I can give you, I've also got a patient, or I'm also a patient. Now, what the government has done is that from creating awareness, from
Screening.
diagnostics, nothing.
Yeah.
I will say that, and I never shy away from saying that because what we get a lot from the government is lip service.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I want to challenge the people out there, especially the politicians.
Yeah.
Once a politician gets cancer, they go out.
Yeah.
And when you go out, when the Wazungus, the Western world, whichever hospital you go, they find out that you're a public leader.
Yeah.
And you're actually, let's say, an MP or you represent people. They get very concerned and they say, look, we have funding and we can support you on cancer because you are a public figure.
Yes.
You come back to Kenya, start a foundation.
Yeah.
Once you start a foundation, you receive money,
And you
but
keep
where
it.
do we get that money?
Wow.
Now, what do they do to justify that money?
Yeah.
And I want to take this as a basic example so that, because the cancer money that coming in this country
Is a lot.
is huge.
Yes.
Now, take it for example, you get $1 billion as an organization. You will use 300 million, okay, which will make an impact.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
What impact do? We print materials, we download materials from the American Cancer Society. We don't even do research.
Yeah.
We just go download, go put your label, this and this foundation, then you come and distribute. 2, you'll take people for medical camps.
Yeah.
Now, when you go for medical camps, You're saying we're going to do breast cancer screening. We're going to do breast cancer screening and all that. Now, there's another thing. You come with your doctors. You pay these doctors a per diem.
Yeah.
Okay? In most cases, because when you're doing this, you're actually using government facilities.
Yes.
So, you come, let's say, for example, from where I come from, you come to Embu, and you say we are going to have a medical camp, and we'll do it in this. We should get the hospital, you get the doctors and nurses from the hospital, you pay them per diem out of their salary, so they support this. You will not use any money. Because you're using government facilities. You will be given because you're so and so, you will go to these others, they will give you donations of medicine and all that. Now, but that is not the problem. The problem is, if a lady from the village has told to come and get screening, what kind of screening are you doing? You come, you touch her boobs, you tell her, I think mama unaweza kuwa na cancer. So fanya hivi, nenda hospitali uangaliwe. What have you done to that lady? You have not given her a solution. You have created her
a problem
because now, hey, she goes home, she tells the husband, or the husband tells the wife or the children, I was told I might be having cancer. And it's not proven. Now you find the husband is saying, now what do we do? You have cancer. Where do you go? You go to Embu. We have no screening facilities.
And that's the case in most places.
The whole of county. We only have 2 in Eldoret and Kenyatta. Now you come to Kenyatta, you go to Eldoret, there's a queue of 300 people. Okay? Now, completely lost. The family is lost. Do you know what happens, Kumboka? Husbands abandon their wives. Because they cannot deal with this stress. And you find now women, and when husbands abandon their wives, they leave the sick woman with children.
So the children are the ones who are taking care
now,
of her.
who is going to take care of the other? Right? So we really have a problem which needs to have a national dialogue. We do not ask for much. We are not asking for much. We are just asking for systems and procedures that work. You go to NHIF, you don't understand how NHIF works.
Yes.
You tell me, I can only get NHIF and appoint myself a hospital in Embu. Embu doesn't have facilities for screening cancer. Therefore, that NHIF will not work for me if I come to Nairobi. I come to Nairobi, they'll tell me, go back to Embu. You said your hospital is in Embu. What is this? It's like we're being taken round. We're being played. We're not being. Nobody has the heart to do it. We have been saying cancer should be declared a national disaster. It should be. People are dying. I will tell you about my village. We are getting 22-year-olds getting cancer. Why are they getting cancer? They're eating mogoka. You know that mogoka? Now, they spray these chemicals, pesticides, directly. They have 3 types of chemicals they spray on that. Tomorrow, because these people want to make a quick buck, they will not give the mandatory 7 days for the medicine to dissipate. No. They will go, harvest that mogoka, send it to Kisumu, send it to Mombasa, send it. Raw poison. Raw poison. But what are we saying? Government, you have the Ministry of Agriculture. Are you supervising what we are eating? We have KEBS. Are you supervising what we are
No, we know they're not, because we saw ourselves with aflatoxin last year.
In a nutshell, we have a problem. And it is very difficult to talk as a caregiver and not talk as a patient. And it's also very difficult for a patient to talk as a patient experiences because they are all interjoined, right? And personally, when I see these 2 people here, I feel good because they have a spirit. Nobody knows what a cancer patient goes through. You go into chemo, your body is completely devastated. Chemo is poison. It poisons your body, you have no immune system. Sometimes you see patients, when I used to see my wife, she would be bleeding from the mouth. And it's crazy. Today in India, we are told that after chemo, you know, definitely after chemo, you will definitely get your, the opportunistic infections. They come. In India, they have a system of following it up. If your temperature gets to a certain degree, rush your patient to hospital. They are waiting for them. Here, the doctor has put off the phone. You can't reach them. Your patient is hitting 100 degrees. Okay? You can't reach them. You don't know where to go. You're going a patient. You're not supposed to you're not supposed to mix with other people because you're supposed to have been put in isolation. Umebebana na mgonjwa ako who his immune system is already down, already infection. You're taking them to a hospital on a public bench where there are other sick people. That is a death sentence.
All right, 16 minutes to 9 a.m. We're talking about cancer and how it affects us as a country. I hope you're listening. When we come back, how do we then fix this?
Nobody can stop reggae.
This hour we're talking about cancer, and today being World Preventive Cancer Day, we want to know from our friends of Vibes who we've invited into studio to share with us their stories so that we can learn what we need to do, what is there, and how we can get involved, because cancer is affecting everyone. Last year, I saw every single Kenyan being super emotional about losing different leaders. But then you forget that there were a lot of other people who died. In fact, studies show us, what are the stats?
Over 40,000 Kenyans are dying annually.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So over 40,000 Kenyans died last year. Yeah. And that is the number that we're saying. How can we fix this?
And even in terms of the counties which are most prevalent, Nairobi is not even close, because there are some counties like Kisumu, Kakamega, Nyeri, Nakuru, Bomet and Eldoret, which are counties without even these centers where you can go and detect if you have cancer.
Because that's what I worry. You know, when you look at Nairobi, for example, most of the cancer centers are privately owned. Right.
Yeah.
The cost of taking care of this disease is expensive. We're going to talk about
you literally have to change your whole diet, but we'll talk about it.
From a social perspective, I mean, you mentioned how cancer pretty much changed your life. Like, even from a social perspective, what would you have to say for those of us who are living and, we're not going for screening, we're not, trying to get the government to do the right thing? What would you tell us?
You see, for now, all I can say is we spread love, because I think if you love yourself, number one, you get healed, for sure. And another thing, it's you make yourself happy. Forget about cancer and be positive. You be positive about everything you do. Like in my situation, I was given 25 days to live because of the lung cancer, because it was on stage 4C. It was on the last stage. It had also affected my heart, you see. And you see what I did? The doctor had nothing else to do. Even the chemo was not working. I was 38 kgs. The chemo was just ruining my body with everything. But at the same time, I was keeping myself positive and saying, I'm going to make it. And I don't care what the doctor says. I don't care what other people say. You see, even the community, they can participate in loving others. Like, if you have cancer, like for now, hufai kufutwa kazi. If you have cancer, if your wife has cancer, usimuache. If your husband has like prostate cancer, don't go around and you see you'll bring more disease in the family, and your family maybe itaharibika, you see. So then most people say that if we do like screening, we're gonna prevent cancer. But that one cannot, because right now we go for screening, right? You are told, hey, we suspect that you might be having a cervical cancer right now. Then what next? You are mama boga in the village or somewhere. You cannot even afford the 500 of NHF. Now you die of stress. You die of depression. Because in your mind you think, I have cancer. They suspect I have cancer. Now what? I don't have a rad to sell. I'm only having kids. No one else who can support me with money. No one else can support me with anything. You sit down. You lock yourself in your room. You die because of stress. And people out there will say, she died of cancer. No, she died of depression. Because I cannot afford the medication. I cannot afford chemotherapy. I cannot afford this and this and this. Mostly, you see, when you're diagnosed with cancer, you think it's a death sentence. But I'm telling people right now, cancer is not a death sentence. You can be healed as long as your mind is positive, as long as you trust in God. And another thing is, in the society, you see, in the society we are living in, it like stigma, it's for real. I'm telling you.
The stigma around cancer?
Yes, my friend. I'm going to give you a story of my friend. She went for a function and she had cervical cancer.
Yeah.
Do you know those mamas said she cannot cook for the guests because she had cancer? You can imagine. No, what about...
But that comes from ignorance.
Yes. You see, that one can even kill her.
Yeah.
Because she will have depression.
Stressed, yeah.
And the other thing, maybe like me, I lost my leg, I lost my lung. You see, the other person is using stoma.
Yeah.
It's even hard to get into a relationship. It's even hard to have friends because they all think you'll be a burden.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what is happening in our societies.
This is so sad to hear. Lillian, what would you tell? What would you have to say about all this? Because the truth is, I think we are all aware that we need to do something.
Sure.
But I think we've put the whole responsibility on the government. And, to be fair, they've, like now with cervical cancer, because it's the top cancer in the country, there's vaccination that's happening with the kids. They've started doing that. Although there's some people who are against it because they're like, unafundisha watoto tabia mbaya. What would you say to Kenyans who are listening right now?
First and foremost, what I'll tell Kenyans is this. Cancer is not a death sentence, as you could say. And go for screening. Go for screening. Enda ujue hali yako. That's the biggest thing that you have to do. And besides that, once you know what is going on with yourself, don't lock yourself. Most of us, we do that.
Yeah.
We just lock yourself because you have got no idea of what's next.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
For how long?
For a while. I did. And it's only because you're afraid of what's next. As Shiko says, do you have a job or don't you have a job? And especially if and I know people who are in senior positions who will not talk about cancer because they don't want to share. How will people say what they're going to say?
Yeah.
Are people going to give me opportunities when they feel that I've got cancer? Will I still have the same deals? Will I go to the same places that I used to go to? Because there's stigma with cancer. There's stigma.
Let me ask you, for you were working.
Yep.
And then you got healed. You went back to work.
Yep.
Were you the same person? Were you delivering at work?
Yes.
But of course, you had gone through a different experience.
Yes, I was. The only challenge is this. Because of the treatment that you get, it could affect you. You become, certain things that will happen that you become irritable at times because of medication that you're taking. If you're not aware. Yeah. If you're not aware of the side effects and the symptoms, which sometimes you might not be told.
Yeah.
Right? So you become irritable. Or you can also become very hyper depending on what you're taking. So you can imagine this would also affect your work. Right? So if you're aware, then you'd know certain days, certain things that you can't do. You cannot share certain meetings.
Yeah.
You just have to know today is the day that I can't do this. I'm very grateful that I work for a good organization and I'm able to manage my time. I'm able to do certain things. If it were not for that, I'm not sure how it would have panned out, to be honest. Because especially if you're in a position of responsibility, then you have to be... You're forced to be that person that you've always been, right? So there are certain things also you might not even share. Like, for instance, if you have to take X, Y, Z, you might not, because for instance, myself, I'm a single parent with my son who's been very supportive. You've seen him hanging around me today, right? Yeah. So I thank God for him that he's been there and he's my cheerleader. Cancer give you new friends, whereby you find that friends that I have today probably are people I didn't know years ago. So you have new friends, you have new associations.
What would you tell employers about their employees who have cancer?
The same way we've handled certain ailments. What I'll say, one, cancer is not something that should make you want to fire your employee. Secondly, it's not something that should make you change their roles, because cancer does not define anyone. It doesn't define people. And actually, to me, I think cancer makes people better, because you know, God forbid, and this is a fact, you're living like a day at a time, and you're like, you know what, today could just be my last. And because today could just be my last, I think we do our best. We don't want to fail. Because for me today is what I'm thinking about, is what's the legacy I'm going to leave behind, because I know that I live by God's grace. So when I wake up in the morning, I want to make the best. So employers should know that actually people who've been diagnosed are actually doing their best, because you don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow you could just wake up and find something else. I would want to see the government setting up cancer centers, but not also that are regulated. We have centers in this country which are not regulated. Do the government know what's happening in these centers? They don't. And that's whereby you find substandard treatment being given to patients. And I've seen people dying because you ask them, where did they get treatment from? They tell you of some place and you're wondering, really? It exists? I'm
going to give Joe your final thoughts on this, especially from a palliative care perspective.
Now, let me first address the issue. What can we do? It's all about money and goodwill. Now, one, we have how many oncologists in this country? 20. Okay. The other day, we brought 100 doctors from Cuba. How many of them are oncologists? None. Yeah. Number two, that creates a cartel, because this is big money we're talking about. Therefore, when we are doing that, it means we will abandon our public facilities and go for our own facilities. And I think all oncologists, with all due respect to them, like I said, it's business. All of them have their own clinics. Okay? What do we need to do? We pay our MPs over 201 million shillings. Why don't we pay our oncologists that kind of money? Because they want money. Why don't we? They are an important part of our life. Why don't we pay them that kind of money and make sure they operate from those hospitals, public hospitals, and not going to public? Number two, declare cancer a national disaster. We declared AIDS a national disaster. What happened? We opened all the screening center, VCR sessions all over Kenya. Today you walk in anywhere and you get an AIDS test free. We can do the same for cancer. But you know why we don't want to do this? Because once we declare cancer national disaster, the money stops coming to individuals. It starts coming to the government to set up facilities. So we don't want to do that. Finally, we need to support our facilities. Kenyans have never known or appreciated what hospices are. We need to strengthen our hospices. Hospices are a community thing. Why do I say that? Cancer is a progressive thing. Once you have cancer, chances of going to stage 4, especially in our country, because of late diagnosis, are high. We have so many people out there in the villages who are stage 4 or stage 3 going to stage 4, and they do not know it. At the end of it, you find when you get there, you do not need curative. You need palliative care, where now cut-off medicines like chemotherapy, which are going to ravage your body, and manage this pain, because now it's a question of time. But you see now, these hospices, one, NHIF does not give any hospice. I don't think they have cover for hospices. No, they don't. Nobody gives funding to hospices. Only well-wishers. And these well-wishers, you'll find, we always say hospices are a Wazungu thing. Our local people, like I'm in Mbumbere, I run a Mbumbere hospice. Nobody cares about it. But we have to go and visit. The number of patients we go and visit in the villages at their homes, they cannot move. They have no 20 shillings to go to the hospital. It's crazy. Therefore, we have solutions, but we just need the goodwill. And once we get the goodwill, pay these people, pay the doctors well, and then we are well.
I want to thank Shiko, Lillian, and Joe for taking time out of your day to come and educate us, share with us your stories. Very powerful. And as Friends of Vibes, we will be reaching out to you time and time again to come through and inform.
You're welcome.
For those of you who are tuned in right now, thank you so much. This has been a conversation about cancer.